Hi guys, and welcome to this week's collective reading. We've got an interesting energy coming through recently that I know those who have had a private reading with me from the past week or so will probably laugh because it ties in so strongly with those readings. But I say it's interesting because we've got this energy of introspection, but this introspection is coming through at a very active time. So it's very, it feels a bit opposite, but it's more like making sure that the actions that you take, there's like this introspection going along with it. So I'm going to dive into the cards before I confuse you anymore. So the first card that came out was the Elven ones, and they're really guiding and supporting us at this time. And on this card, it actually says Divine Creation Codes, Starborn Architects, the Devas, and Sacred Geometry. And the Elven ones are very much our Earth guardians. And this card in the actual book for this deck, this card is very much about taking a break from the density of humanity. And it invites us to be held in a healing space of the Elven, right? To take in their light, their lightness, to see the seriousness of things from a higher perspective so that we can re-enter in a more playful manner. And I completely understand why their energy is guiding us, moving on into the two cards that have helped to give it direction. So the first one that we've got here is the Seven of Wands. And for those of you who watch the shuffle that don't skip, you may have noticed that it came in like this. So it was somewhat reversed, but for some reason, I didn't really hesitate to pull it this direction. And that felt okay. And that made complete sense to me once I understood the messaging attached to this specific card. Because the Seven of Wands, sevens in tarot symbolize that a new approach is required to reach a goal. And then the Wands energy is all about our fire energy, right? So this is our solar plexus, or our actions, our doings, the things that we are doing. So the message of the Seven of Wands is don't give up. This is the energy of being faced with many challenges. But if you can keep up with them and push through, it will be worth it in the end, right? So she's got all of these wands, and these wands are very symbolic of shadow aspects that, because they're surrounding the moon, right? So these are like these actions that she's being forced, that we're being forced to undergo, right? Because they're wands, these are actions. These are things that you've got to do to make it through the day. These are things that you cannot ignore. But her focus, her prize, right? She's got that in her hand, right? She hasn't forgotten what she's doing this all to achieve. And she's sitting with the tiger, right? This is a very casual, relaxed relationship. So she is finding her strength to keep facing these obstacles. She is facing them, right? She is facing them. She's looking out on them. To me, she doesn't look afraid. It's just the things that we have to do. It's like this energy of like having really full, busy days, but we just keep pushing through, because we understand that on the other end of that, we're working for something bigger, and that we just have to get through this period of time, right? And the very first thing I thought when I pulled this card was that this, to me, like literally looks like this beautiful elven being. It looks like the back of her head. And she's actually got a crown of fire right here over her third eye and crown. She's literally got a crown of fire, which also connects this card back here to the wands, because the wands is our fire energy, like I had mentioned. And then you can actually see the crown continuing in the back of her head. So I did think that was funny that this, to me, is the same person, right? And the messaging that comes with that to me is this ability to elevate ourselves into this elven vibration. This is what's going to be able to enable us to push through whatever obstacles we're currently facing. It's not to make these obstacles, these day-to-day things that we have to handle, it's not to make them small or unimportant. It's just about being able to look at the bigger picture, to bring lightness into our energy. Because as guardians of the earth, the elven ones help to lighten the weight of the material, right? So we can fully recognize that these different tasks or obstacles that we're going through on a daily basis in our material life, like, it's hard work, but if we can focus on what it is we're actually trying to achieve, the reason we're doing all of this, right? We can zoom out from a lighter perspective. Lightening your perspective is all about zooming out, seeing things from a higher level, so that you can see the role that these individual obstacles play in the bigger picture. And then here, the last card that came out, it's the Shadow Waters, which is clearly all about shadow work and introspection, but it came in reversed, right? So it's really showing how we are avoiding this work a little bit at this time, perhaps because there are so many obstacles, right? But this is all about understanding what shadows you are needing to transmute or acknowledge, right? This is the dark side of the moon, our shadow work, and it's all about rising our inner power. Because when we do our shadow work, it's literally linked to this, right? Because when we talk about transmuting energy, this is taking the dark, stuck energy that we've like filed away within us, and it's seeing how it served us, how it's given us power. It's working through it so we can release that energy, so we can lighten it. Transmuting is literally turning it into light. And this is literally what the Elven ones are helping us to do, right? So we're being invited to tap in to this energy stream of working with the Elven ones, right? Asking them for help so that they can help us, because we do have to ask for help if we want to be helped, right? And they will help us work through these issues over here. So there is this energy right now of having a lot on our plate, having a lot to deal with, and in maybe doing so much that we're actually ignoring our shadows, because we're just keeping ourselves busy so that we don't have to stop and think, right? And this is the energy that we are being invited right now to work with to help us through this period. So the guidance this week really is to go over here, because if you can take this seriously, right, and ask for the help to lighten your load, to lighten your perspective, though it doesn't physically lighten the actual load, but it lightens our perspective of it so that we can choose to take our day-to-day in a different frequency. It's just going to enable us to work through this energy in a more positive manner. Staying true to ourselves. It's not about trying to pretend like everything is love and light. This is very much about facing the obstacles, right? Facing our shadows so that we can transmute them. This isn't about pretending they don't exist, but it's just about being able to actually transmute it to lighten it. I hope you guys enjoyed the message. I will definitely be intentionally asking the Elven ones for their support at this time, because it will just make everything a little bit easier in this cycle. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you next week for another reading. Once again, I highly doubt that I will be able to do any videos midweek, but if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm also Nath's Garden on Instagram. I do post there most days. Certainly just little random things in my stories. You can always pop me a hello and my messages over there, and I post to the actual feed there. Maybe I'm averaging about 4 times a week right now. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked, but if you want more regular updates, I'm over there. Otherwise, I will be back for the weekly reading next week. Bye guys. Thank you.